Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah. Today let's talk about Supreme Court. It's not exactly humanology, but humanology is about universe, so it covers everything in the universe. So even beyond universe, we cover God, angels. So everything is subject of humanology. Okay. Uh, all right. Let's talk about Supreme Court. So nowadays, Republicans, conservatives are so happy. Justice Kennedy was appointed by the Ronald Reagan. Well, Kennedy is very liberal man, so he sided with gay marriage and all that stuff. So they're happy he resigned, and so that the conservative hero, Mr. Trump, President Trump, is going to nominate somebody conservative. So conservatives, Republicans feel so happy, and I'm not because uh, my concern is Supreme Court has too much power. All right, and so many people say, many Americans say, Supreme Court decision is the law of the land, and that notion is misconception, is mistaken. Constitution does not give that kind of power to Supreme Court. It nowhere in the Constitution says the Supreme Court decision is the law of the land. No, that's not Constitution. All right. The origin of such humongous power of Supreme Court is back in the days of the second and third presidents of United States, uh, around 1800s, early or 1800. um, so just a little bit of history. Well, I had to look it up to refresh my memory. The story goes like this. So Washington D.C. was the president, the very first president, and then second president was John Adams. His son John Quincy Adams was the sixth president. So we're talking about the senior John Adams, the second president. He belonged to John Adams belonged to what's called the Federalist Party. His opponent was Thomas Jefferson. He belonged to Republican Party, which is not the same as today's Republican Party. They are not the same party, but they call themselves Republican Party. Okay, back in the days. So there's Thomas Jefferson. So John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, they belong to two different parties, competing parties, and Thomas Jefferson won the election. So just before John Adams got out of the office, he appointed as many Federalist Party judges and justices as possible as he could. All right. So and that one of those justices was John Marshall. So he belonged to the Federalist Party. All right. Okay. So just before John Adams left office, because he wanted to hold on to this party power, so he filled the Supreme Court and all the other federal courts with Federalist friendly judges and justices. That's John Adams. All right. So now Supreme Court, after he got out and Thomas Jefferson, the Republican Party, he got into the Oval Office, White House. So Thomas Jefferson was the third president, and so even back in those days, at the very beginning of this country, the court, Supreme Court or federal court, they were heavily involved in politics, and even today, it's from the beginning all the way to today. Courts has never been impartial. It's been always involved in politics because who appoints appoint the judges? President, and president are not neutral. So when they appoint judges, justices, they always appoint somebody along the party line. All right, and judges, justices, they are supposed to be impartial and politically neutral, but that's just impossible. Why? Because Homo sapiens, we humans are political animals. Think about gay marriage. It's either you are pro or anti. You cannot be impartial on those things. Abortion or marijuana, tattoos, piercing, all those things. Yeah, it's either you are pro or anti. Okay? That's human beings, it's a human nature. You cannot change that. And judges, justices, are they saints? They are former lawyers. Judges and justices. They all went to law school. They were all lawyers once. Okay? So saints and lawyers, they are more like two opposite sides of the spectrum, correct? So, no, judges and justices, they don't suddenly become saints when they swear in to the office as a judge or justice. No, they are the same people, like you and me, political animal. That's human. So like justice, like Ginsburg, Ruth Ginsburg, she doesn't even bother to hide that she was an activist, feminist, and she became the justice by appointed by Bill Clinton, and she became a judicial activist. So a former activist, if that a former activist becomes a judge, then that person becomes a judicial activist. That person never changes. All right. So yeah, that's what uh, Justice Ruth Ginsburg is. Ruth Vader Ginsburg. This kind of interesting name. It kind of sounds like Darth Vader. There's so many cartoons, the picture memes about that. It is hilarious. Okay, and yeah, she still is a feminist. She was feminist. She still is feminist. So not just her. Look, think about the late Justice Scalia, Antonin Scalia. Uh, Same way, he was conservative and he was very vocally conservative. He didn't bother to hide it. Okay, so left, right, they're all the same. Okay, nobody is better than the other. They're all the same. Left and right, they're the same. Okay, they're not smarter than each other. No, they're the same. They got some smart, they got some stupid. So it's all the same. Okay, so I'm neutral. All right. I'm more conservative, but I love liberals. I love Democrats. Okay. Of course, I need their votes, and but that's not the only reason I'm saying this. All right. So after Jefferson took over, um, James Madison, I think it was the Secretary of Treasury or something. Well, I think after Thomas Jefferson, James Madison became president, right? Something like that, right? So, and James Madison, as you know, is prime author of Constitution, and Thomas Jefferson was the single author of Declaration of Independence. So those two men are very, very smart and great writers. Uh, I consider myself to be a better writer, to be honest with you. But I think they are very good writers. But they tend to be too like nerdy and too. Their sentences tend to be too decorated and too. They were too much to condense. My writing style is more like colloquial, conversational. Uh, my sentences are never heavy. It's like plain English. But their sentence, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, their style is too heavy, too decorated, too um, too dense, and they put too much thoughts into this one sentence, and I don't like it. But I appreciate their writing, and their intelligence and education and whatever. So Thomas Jefferson took the office, became the third president, and then the John Marshall, the Supreme Court justice, appointed by John Adams just before he got out, he was still loyal to his party, Federalist Party. So there was this, and James Madison, of course, was in the same party, Republican Party, with Thomas Jefferson. So he got into some legal trouble, and John Marshall, being a Federalist, he sided with the other party. So that was the famous Supreme Court case of Marbury versus Madison. Marbury versus Madison. So John Marshall sided with Madison. Was the first name John? Let me look it up real quick in my phone, because I don't want to make mistake and look stupid. I'm just looking up in the phone. John Marshall. Yeah. Yeah, he was the justice. So yeah, it's John Marshall. So he sided with Marbury, okay, because Madison belonged to Republican Party, and John Marshall belonged to the Federalist Party. All right. Yeah, they make excuses, right? But no, it's about political power struggle, just like today, Democratic Party and conservative, Republican Party, Liberal Democratic Party, and the Supreme Court justices, they always go along the party line. Okay, it was just like today, back then, in the Marshall's time as well, at the very beginning of this country. Why? Why hasn't that changed? Because it's human nature. That's why it never changed. Okay, humans are political animals. So yeah, and then I think both Congress and I'm not sure about Congress, but the executive branch was Republican Party. Thomas Jefferson and all his appointees are Republican Party people. So John Marshall is a very political person, just like any justices today. So he wanted to expand his party's power. So in Marbury versus Madison, what he did was he usurped not only presidential power but also congressional power too. So according to the Constitution, Congress, this Article 1, and then executive branch, president and all his appointees, executive government, and then Congress. They're the three branches of government according to Constitution. Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. Congress, president, executive branch, and people under him, and then Congress, like U.S. senators and U.S. congressmen, okay, and congresswomen. But when I say man, they're all gender neutral term, okay? It's just easier that way. I'm not going to say congressman or congresswoman, senator man, senator woman, president man, Mr. President, Mrs. President. No. When I say he or his, yeah, it's all gender neutral. Okay, I'm not a feminist, so right. So it's just easier to say. And if you're a woman, if you use the gender pronoun her, she, and you use those words in order to mean both he and she, I would not be offended because I understand what you're saying. All right, just for the ease of speaking. That's all. Now, so what John Marshall did was this. He brazenly declared, Supreme Court is the ultimate authority to interpret the Constitution. So that's the point in American history. Very early on, during the third president's time, Thomas Jefferson, Supreme Court kidnapped the Constitution from the rest of the country. All right, so that didn't have to be that way. Why? Because presidents and people under him, many of them are lawyers. Look back at the American history. How many lawyers became presidents? How many presidents were former lawyers? Many, right? And all these this executive branch government officials, many of them are lawyers. Congress, who become senators and congressmen, mostly lawyers. Okay, so yeah, the executive branch and Congress, there are many lawyers there. So Supreme Court, yeah, or federal courts, of course, yeah, they are all lawyers, but and the Constitution does not. Oh, and James Madison, I don't think he was a lawyer. Let me look it up real quick. You have to forgive me about this. Hey man, I'm not. I don't know everything. So let me see if James Madison was a lawyer. Um, because James Madison wrote the Constitution. Okay. So, is it then necessary to have some constitutional authority to be a is being a lawyer necessary to be an authoritative figure to interpret constitution? Because if James Madison was not a lawyer, then no, anybody can interpret, can be authoritative interpreter of the constitution. Okay, so I'm just looking at Wikipedia. I love Wikipedia. It's very cool. Uh, this is gonna take a while, but yeah, I love Wikipedia, Amazon, YouTube, Google, Bing, Yahoo, all that stuff. They're cool. They're great companies. Um, so James Madison. he- Hmm. I don't think he was a lawyer. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm reading so far, James Madison was never a lawyer. All right. So, and James Madison wrote the Constitution, so it makes absolutely no sense that you have to be a lawyer to interpret the Constitution because the author of the Constitution was not a lawyer. Okay. So, all right. So he did study some law, but I don't think he ever worked as a lawyer. So he did study law and political theory, and he worked with legislators. So I don't think he was ever a lawyer. He studied a lot of like philosophy, history, I guess, European, knowledge. But I don't think James Madison was ever a lawyer. Okay. So it makes no sense that you have to be a lawyer in order to interpret the Constitution. That's a phony argument. That's ignorant argument. That's what law schools in the nation teaches, right? The judicial review doctrine, constitutional law. But that's not Constitution. That's John Marshall's political agenda. Okay. Supreme Court being the supreme authority of interpretation of Constitution, that is John Marshall's political agenda. It was not based on Constitution. Constitution is about separation of power, about equal divided power. First, it was Congress because they are the representative, and there are so many Congress people in the Congress, like 400 and something congressmen and what 100 senators. There are many people in Congress. That's the very first branch of government that's mentioned in the Constitution. That's the most important. Second is the president. Okay, so direct, not direct, but it's yeah, basically representative of people, direct like election. Okay, presidential election. Third comes at the very last. Comes the Supreme Court. Okay, so they are the least important, supposed to be, or they are equally important. Okay, but Supreme Court became way up and took power off of the president and Congress by this doctrine of judicial review. What is judicial review? Is this Congress? They are legislators, so they make a law, federal statute. Then Supreme Court can come and say, "Oh, by the way, the law that you just made is unconstitutional." Okay. Of course, they just throw in all these constitutional theories, all these made-up arguments, but that's on the surface. Behind the surface, there is judicial activism and judicial politics. Okay. That's the history of Supreme Court decisions. The Supreme Court decision is always political. All right. That's why Justice Kennedy, who's going to retire soon, he played such a key role because he's the swing vote. Okay, so he had enjoyed such a supreme power in America because Supreme Court decision was like very big. Like look at gay marriage. Supreme Court say, oh yeah, gay marriage is denying gay marriage is unconstitutional. Supreme Court said that, then suddenly everything changes, right? So that's the dictatorship of Justice Kennedy, the dictatorship of Supreme Court, which is the exact opposite of the Constitution. Constitution is about preventing dictatorship, but guess who became the dictator? Justice Kennedy, or whoever will be his successor. Okay, that Trump is trying to nominate. So today is July 6th, I think, of 2018. All right, so that's why it's so wrong. It's so unconstitutional. The Supreme Court justices who swore into their justicehood to the Supreme Court, they are doing exact opposite of what Constitution was aimed at: prevention of dictatorship. And that's what they're doing, and that's what Justice John Marshall did in the Marbury versus Madison. He usurped congressional power and the power of the president. So the president issues an executive order or something like that. Supreme Court can just declare, oh, by the way, your executive order is unconstitutional. So no matter what president comes up with, no matter what the Congress comes up with, no matter what the state legislature comes up with, or governor of a state comes up with, Supreme Court always can declare it unconstitutional, because not because Constitution gave them that much power, but because John Marshall usurped all that power and concentrated all that power into the Supreme Court. Supreme Court became the dictator of America ever since Justice John Marshall. All right, so this is very heresy kind of thing. Why? Because Justice Marshall is all law students' hero, all law professors' hero, all lawyers hero, the hero of all the justices and judges, everyone in legal community. They worship and idolize Justice John Marshall. Why? Can you guess? I give you like 10 seconds, okay? Why do lawyers and judges and justices worship Justice John Marshall, putting his picture in their office walls? Why is that the case? Did you get the answer? Well, you may be more right than I am. Everything I say in this episode and other episodes of this humanology one-man show series is my opinion. I could be wrong. You could be right. It's just my opinion. So in my humble or arrogant opinion, Justice Marshall is worshipped by all the lawyers because he's the one who gave them the power. Supreme Court. He concentrated all the power from the Congress, from the President, executive branch. He concentrated in the Supreme Court. Okay, that is not according to the Constitution. It's Justice John Marshall. So Justice John Marshall made lawyers powerful. He's the empowerment. He's like ancestral figure who gave lawyers their jobs and their powers and their financial security. You see how the narrative that I'm spinning? All right, well, it could be a narrative, it could be the truth. It's just one point of view. All right. But yeah, I can say this because I'm a lawyer on paper. But because I passed the bar, but I'm not working as a lawyer. All right, I'm working as a computer programmer. Okay, it's possible that I get a lawyer job in the future. All right. Then who knows? I start worshiping this Supreme Court Justice John Marshall. Oh, Mr. John Marshall, thank you for giving me the job and power and money, fame, whatever. Who knows, man? I don't know. Who knows about the future, man? So yeah. So there's Justice John Marshall and the Judicial Review Doctrine, where executive branch, like some governmental agency like EPA or some regulatory agencies like energy agency or DEA or immigration authority. Many of the federal government agencies, they have this board that issues like license or not. Also like state level, county level, city level, the governmental agencies, they make quasi-judicial ruling. They kind of act like a judge. You have this panel of board members, right? And then somebody bring a complaint, or somebody bring apply for a license or zoning permit, whatever exception to it, and they make a ruling, and Supreme Court can come and say, oh hey, your federal agency ruling is unconstitutional. Okay, so yes, I'm talking about executive branch under the president in the federal government. You have many agencies, government agencies, and they make some kind of rulings, like permit and stuff. And Supreme Court can come and say, oh, those things are unconstitutional. Okay, and Congress make a law. Supreme Court can come and say that law is unconstitutional. Okay, there's another way of saying it's disguised. It's on the surface, but behind is their politics. Because human nature is politicians. We are all politicians. We all are political animals. Okay, because we have opinions on things. All right, it's either pro or anti. Depending on the issue, pro can be Democratic party line, the platform. Anti would be Republican, and it can be the other way, depending on the issue. Abortion, pro-abortion is Democratic Party. Anti-abortion, Republican Party. Okay, So pro-abortion and now uh, yeah, gay marriage, like pro-gay marriage, that's Democratic Party, anti-gay marriage, Republican Party, right? And marijuana, pro-marijuana, Democrats, anti-marijuana, Republicans, and things like that. Okay, so uh, of course, they teach you that Supreme Court cannot take on any issues. They only can take issue rule on a case that people bring up. Again, that's hypocrisy. Just on the surface. Why? Can you guess why? Did you understand my English? Because according to the Constitution, it's called case or controversy doctrine, something like that. Okay, that's the language of Constitution in Article 3. They say Supreme Court can only rule on a case or controversy. So Supreme Court cannot just rule on gay marriage when nobody sue about it. Somebody has to bring lawsuit about gay marriage to the all the way to the Supreme Court. Then they can rule on it. But does that limit the power of the Supreme Court? Because they cannot choose what issue they will decide on? No. Why? Do you know how many cases come to at the front door of the Supreme Court and how many get rejected? Every single issue, every conceivable issue in America is brought to the Supreme Court. Everything, every issue. Gay marriage, marijuana, tattoos, piercing, you name it. Supreme Court chooses a small subset of those issues. And what issues do they take on? The most famous issues, like gay marriage, the most well-known issue of the day. That's the only case that Supreme Court takes because it's important, and it empowers them. It empowers Supreme Court and Supreme Court justices because they become the ruler of the land. All right. Every single issue, big or small, popular or unpopular, well-known, unknown, they always come to the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court, that's the process of the writ of certiorari, I don't know, the writ of certiorari, that Latin word, okay. They issue on that, so issuing the writ of certiorari means I'm taking that case. Okay, so Supreme Court always take the biggest, the most hotly contended issue of the day. Okay, but every single issue in America comes to the door of the Supreme Court because somebody in the country out of 50 states or the territories, yeah, they sue and they bring lawsuits and it goes. They always go up to the Supreme Court. They find their way to the Supreme Court. Okay. And Supreme Court takes only those issues that's the most hotly contained, like contested, like gay marriage, okay, or abortion, all right. So, and then that's how they maintain their power, okay, because they are being regarded as the supreme law of the land. What Constitution says is, this Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not the Supreme Court. So Constitution would never say such a thing because it's about preventing the dictatorship and it's about separation of power. It's about democracy. It's about giving power back to the people. Supreme Court is, Constitution is about restricting the power of the government, giving power back to the people. That's the Constitution's goal, original intention. Supreme Court is going exactly against it. United Supreme Court is usurping the power of the people. How? Because Hawaii and I think it was California too. Can you believe it? Hawaii, California, heavily liberal states. The state citizens of California, Hawaii, and probably Colorado or some other states, probably Massachusetts, they all supported their state constitutional amendment in order to define the marriage between man and woman. They were against gay marriage. That was back in 90s, I think, 1990s or 1980s, right? So, and then all these LGBT activists, pro-gayists, gayists, they went all the way to Supreme Court. They say, oh, this ballot measure is unconstitutional. So Supreme Court, Justice Kennedy, they sided with these LGBT activists. So they declared the will of the people in California, Hawaii, they overruled it. Okay, that's 9 justices. Actually, 5 justices out of 9 justices. They overruled the will of the people in California, in Hawaii, all the other states. Okay, so they are going against the Constitution. They don't care what the will of the people is. They only care about their personal political agenda. Okay, so the concentration of power in Supreme Court is unconstitutional. All right, but it's never been brought up. Why? Because people are afraid. Donald J. Trump, do you think they can fight against Supreme Court, supreme power? No, he's too old for that. He's like 70 something, and also he's not as educated in law like I am. So he doesn't have that kind of energy or courage or knowledge. No, it's me. I'm the only guy who can do it. All right. So how would I fix it once I become the president in 2021? It's this. So Supreme Court right now have this veto power. It's veto power. They can always overrule against the Congress, against the president, against the executive branch, congressional branch, against states, against everything. So Supreme Court now has the absolute power, the dictatorial power. That's Supreme Court right now, right? And we need to change that because we have to go back to the original Constitution. Okay? Why? Because dictatorship is bad. Isn't America supposed to be a democratic country? Do you want to live in dictatorship or do you want to live in democracy? Do you want the power back to the people? So my campaign motto is this. First, unite the left and the right. Second, I think it's like reduce crimes to 0. I think third is give power back to the people. Fourth, average Americans, like me and my friends, representing average Americans, not elites, no. Just people like me and you. On the outside we look average, but on the inside we have exceptional qualities, like inner values. We don't make much money, but yeah, we are very talented people. Just like people like you and me, Americans. Real Americans, not some fancy, like Donald J. Trump living in this fancy mansion and flying on a helicopter, and who went to UPenn, Wharton, the best MBA program in the world, and who were born rich with silver spoon. That's Donald J. Trump, okay? And Barack Obama, he went to Harvard University Law School, all these elites, okay? We are not that. They don't represent us. They do not know what the problems average Americans like you and me go through every day. They don't know what the problems are that Americans are facing, and they don't even care. Okay? Why? Because they are rich and powerful. They don't get to deal with us. Alright? So they don't know what the problem we are facing every day. They never deal with us. No, they're friends. They're all elites, just like they are. Barack Obama, Donald J. Trump. Look at their friends, all powerful, rich, famous people like Hollywood's stars, and they don't deal with people, the problems that we are facing. Okay, if you're living in a southern border of like Texas, Arizona, California, yeah, there are problems with homeless people and these dirty streets, crimes, and illegal immigrants, right? But rich and powerful people, they don't live in that neighborhood. They live in castle and palaces. That's Donald J. Trump. That's Barack Obama. All this Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio. It's all the same, okay? All those people, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, they're all the same, okay? They are rich and powerful people, then so they don't live in a bad neighborhood like you and I do, all right? So they don't know what the problem is. They don't have a solution, or let alone the solution. If you don't know the problem is, how can I come with a solution? They don't even care. The only thing they care is power, maintenance of power. They want to hang on to their power. That's why Donald J. Trump is running for re-election. Okay, he doesn't care about the country. Maybe he does, just a little bit, just enough to get him the re-election, right? But mostly it's about Trump. It's not. It's Trump first. It's not America first. Okay, because if he is really America first, do you know what he would do? He would be have an open mind, and open to the idea of presidential primary in the Republican Party. But no, he's not pushing for the primary. He wants there to be no primary at all because he wants to be just nominated without primary, without debate. He wants to be nominated as a Republican Party candidate for his re-election. Donald J. Trump put himself first before America. Okay? Do you know what I would do after my first term? There will be primary. Okay? To be honest with you, I'm not even sure if I would pursue the second term because I think 4 years should be just enough to fix all the problems. Okay? Because I work very fast. All right? I don't think I need second term to pay off for $20 trillion of debt, to get rid of the crime to zero, and unite the left and right. Yeah, 4 years to me is more than enough. I have 2.5 years before the general election, presidential election. To me, that's more than enough. Okay, I can make it. Okay, so because I'm that good. Okay, I'm smart. I'm that smart. All right, so I don't need a penny of your money to be the president in 2021. Okay, because I'm that smart. It's just stupid people who need money. I don't need it. All right, I'll just work with media so that I get my free advertisement. And I learned this from Donald J. Trump. Okay, I read 5 of his books. You get free media coverage. Okay, if you're smart. All right, so I mean, come on. If I do presidential campaign advertisement, how many people pay attention to that? I don't. I flip the channel when there's advertisement. It's boring. Okay. But if you really want to contribute campaign donation to me, yeah, I would very gratefully accept it because yeah, maybe I can do advertisement. Okay, but I don't think it's necessary. I'd rather have you keep your money and enjoy your life. All right, because I don't want your money and I don't need your money. But if you want to contribute, then I will very gratefully accept it. All right. So anyway, let's see. So we talked about yeah, court issues. Yeah. No, let's forget about all these laws and courts and because it's boring. At first it was fun, just like anything else, but we talked about it enough. Let's do something exotic, shall we? How about some dancing and singing? I do dance and I do sing. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but my dancing style is what I would call get drunk and get stupid. Okay, so it's like this, you know. Just I get drunk and I just start moving and look stupid, and that's my dance style. Okay, it's nothing fancy. Just get drunk and get stupid. That's my dance. Okay, so so as the president, what I would do is everybody except uh, pregnant women or people with some medical condition, unless you are in one of those two categories, then yeah, everybody should drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes every day. Not just in America, but in the world. All right, but you have to do it in a controlled manner. So take drinking alcohol and smoking cigarette as an opportunity to learn about self discipline and self control. When I smoke cigarettes, I have like 5 puffs. That's it. I want to smoke some more, but I stop. So it's an opportunity for me to control my inner urges. It's a self discipline. Okay, drinking same way. I control my drinking. As you noticed, I drink very slowly. So there's this tradition in many people nowadays. I think it has some Latin America origin that put like salt here and they lick it and they drink shot. Never do that ever. You should never drink like this. Never, never. That's bad for you. You drink slowly in a controlled manner. Okay, and so what do? They get drunk very fast and they misbehave. They cause troubles because they are not controlling themselves. They're just doing like this. Never ever do that. That's bad. So once they get drunk, here is what they do. They make excuses. I'm drunk, so I can do whatever I want to do. Why? Because I have an excuse. I'm drunk. So I can rape a woman. I can steal things. I can punch somebody. I can do whatever I want because I have an excuse. I'm drunk. Bad way of drinking. The right way of drinking is this. I'm teaching you. I'm teaching the world. If you understand my English. I mean, even English speakers probably don't understand a single word I'm saying because my accent is so thick. So basically nobody understands what I'm saying. If you're an English speaker, you don't understand my English because I have a thick accent. If you are not an English speaker, then this is all gibberish to you. because you don't know English, okay? So it's just one man show, nobody understand what I'm saying, okay? So whatever, I don't care. I'm just having fun, alright? So I'm the only audience. This is stand-up comedy. I'm sitting. Stand-up comedy gig where in front of the empty audience. There is no audience except me. But hey, at least I'm having fun, okay? So to me that's all that matters. So I don't care if anybody watches, but if you do watch this, I thank you. I appreciate your patience and kindness, and yeah, thank you. So if you are there, but probably you won't be there for what, probably for 100 years. So maybe if you are watching this, probably speak after long after I'm dead. So I'll be dead in what, 50 years from now when I'm 90 something, and it will take another 100 years until you see this. So if ever, then it'll be 150 years from now, and I'll be long dead, like 6 feet under. And yeah, but I thank you beforehand if you are ever there. But I made a movie. It's in YouTube, and I wrote 25 books. I'm still writing the next volume, and nobody knows about it. Nobody read my books. Nobody watch my movies, and nobody's watching this one man stand-up comedy show. And I'm fine with that. Why? Because I enjoyed making the movie. I enjoyed writing my books. Although it's available 24/7 or anywhere in the world, in the internet. Nobody knows about it because I'm nobody. Okay, so I'm fine with that, and I'm still grateful to God and Jesus, and I'm Christian. That they gave me this opportunity, okay, to make something, although nobody knows about it. That's fine. That's irrelevant because I enjoyed making it, making a movie, writing books, and recording this, developing humanology. I truly enjoyed it, so it's irrelevant to me if I get appreciated because I do not derive happiness from other people. Okay, I derive happiness from eating healthy, from exercise, so diet and exercise, and learning something new, dancing, singing, martial arts, and creating my own things like humanology, brand new science, and making my own brand new movie and writing my own books. Doesn't cost me any money. It's not like I'm traveling to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii. I've never been to Florida. Okay? I don't make that kind of money. Alright? You know, I live in Alaska, so 2 years ago, I had this. Was it 1 year ago? I think it was 2 years ago. We get this permanent dividend, permanent fund dividend. I think it was last year. Not sure. So I received a $1,000 as a permanent fund dividend. We Alaskans get that, okay? It's from oil company. So yeah, I love oil companies, okay? I They never hired me. I'm not sure if I ever even applied as a computer programmer. Anyway, so I have no personal interest because I'm not associated. I've never been associated with big oil companies. They never hired me. They never gave me campaign contribution money where because they're big corporation and big corporation cannot contribute any campaign contribution. Okay, it's the election law. So yeah, I don't get any interest. I don't have stocks. I never buy stocks. Okay, never have. I never will buy stocks. We talked about stocks the previous time, and so I have no personal association with tobacco companies or alcohol companies or big oil companies. No, no, I have nothing to do with them. Okay, but yeah, they are the ones who give us Alaskans money, permanent fund dividend. Also, they do great things like biking trails. They build biking trails for free for Alaskans. Okay, so yeah, they do many good things. I appreciate that. Okay, and so you should never just hate a company just because it's a big company. That's not fair and that's not right. They can be evil, yes, but they are not just being a big company. That does not mean they are evil. All right. I want you to start thinking rationally. Okay, and drop all those emotional party lines. I don't care whether you're Republicans or Democrats. Don't follow the majoritarian view. Be your own thinker. Be like me and learn from me. Okay? Why? Because what I show you, what I share, what I teach, it's not my ideas. I'm a very good listener. That's why I'm wise because I love learning from other people. I'm nothing but a synthesizer and collector of knowledge and wisdom from other people. Okay? Let's take a break and because my mouth is getting all dry and stuff. Let's take a break. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm gonna open the window and ventilate the air. okay, I'm kind of back. Just halfway. Let me close this window. Then I'll be totally back. So, yeah, all the things, my theories, my ideas, they're kind of non-mainstream, kind of rebellious, but not mutinous. Because I support Donald J. Trump as our president as long as he's the president. Even if he win the re-election, I will support him because he is the president. It's democratic process. And that means I failed to become the president in 2021. Hey, it's democracy, okay? I'm fine with it. I will run next time again, all right? Yeah, so it's, but I will do my best to become the president in 2021, all right? And because I got nothing else to do. I'm doing all this presidential election thing. I already registered myself as presidential candidate with FEC, Federal Election Committee, Federal Election Commission. So yeah, it's official. Okay, I already announced my candidacy in local radio talk shows. There are many. They all know I'm running against Trump in 2020. My friends, they all know it. Okay, the local politicians, they all know it because I tell them. Okay, and county meetings, city meetings, yeah, I announced that already long while ago. Okay, so why am I doing this? Because I'm the only one who can save America from its suicidal and self-destructive course that is taken right now. America is destroying itself. So my job is, my mission is to protect your children and your grandchildren from you. You're ruining their future. What are you doing? You're tattooing yourself. You're doing plastic surgery. You're doing marijuana. And children learn from you. Okay? It gets your bad habits. These evil ideologies that's possessing you. Marijuanaism, gayism, tattoo piercism, plastic surgeryism, or marijuanaism, tattoo piercing, gay marriage, transgenderism, LGBTism, all these bad ideologies, your children inherit those bad ideologies from you because they learn and imitate you. Or sugar fatism, okay, you eat a lot of sugar and fat, like fried food and all this fried stuff and pies, potato chips, cakes, ice creams, all these things, okay? You eat them, you feed them to your kids. Okay, so, but if you say, you always say you love your kids, but I think that's just empty words. Do you know what it takes to love your kids? Here is what it takes. You start eating healthy and you start exercise so that your children learn those things, good habits from you. That's love. Love is something very difficult and something very hard. Do you want your children and grandkids to be better than you? You would want that. You would want your children and grandchildren to be better than you, to live a better life than yours, if you really love them, like you say you do. Then you will have to show them good examples. Okay, so don't get any more tattoos. If you have piercing like here and here, that's good for women. Yeah, I do have punched one ear hole like 20 years ago. Okay, because I wanted to wear earrings, believe it or not. Okay, so I did punch here, and then it got all this pus and it got infected. So you know what? Screw that. I'm not gonna. So yeah, it's sealed up. Okay, so you're not gonna see it. And tattoos. Do you see this? This blue spot here. It kind of looks like tattoo, but it's not exactly a tattoo. But when I was in elementary school back in Korea, there's this pencil. Do you know what the pencil is? You have this wood covering and in the middle you have this pith of graphite, and you have this eraser at the end. I'm not sure if people sell those things nowadays anymore. I don't know, but back in the day we had those. I'm talking about 1980s. So I accidentally poked right here with this graphite end tip of the pencil, and it's still here. Okay, so it kind of looks like tattoo. Yeah, I kind of have piercing, so yeah, I can relate to you. I'm saying this because in order to relate to you. And gayism, yeah, I can relate to that too, because many people think I'm gay. My clothing, the way I talk, the way I bob my head, or my gesture like this. Yeah, some people think I'm gay, okay? But I'm not, alright? Do I get some kind of that kind of temptation sometimes? Yes. And I hate it, but it does happen. Like when I see a man, I hate those thoughts that come to my mind. So I resist it because it really disgusts me. But it does happen to me. Okay? Why? Because gayism is so prevalent. All this gayism. Let me write that. You don't have to see it so clearly, so I'm gonna write in this light gray. Gayism. Then there is pro-gayism, anti-gayism. So three things. There are always three things: sugar fatism, pro-sugar fatism, anti-sugar fatism. If you are gayist, then that means you practice gayism. Like you're a man and you kiss another man, or you just watch gay porns, gay magazines. You practice gayism. You think about having sex with another man. You're a man and you think about having sex or kiss another man. That's gayism. Pro-gayism is not gayism, okay? You are a straight man, but you support your gay friends' gay activity. You support your sister's lesbianism. You support your son's transgenderism. You are a pro-gayist, okay? But you are straight. That's pro-gayism. Anti-gayism is like me, anti-gayist. I oppose anything that has to do with gayism or LGBTism, okay? I call it gayism. I don't call it LGBTism. It's just gayism. Gayism includes anything that has to do with homosexuality, transgender, all that stuff, okay? Anything that's not straight, that's gayism, right? So why is gayism so wrong? I think I promised once before we'll talk about homosexuality, because I said it's a long story and it's a whole chapter. So let's talk about it right now. Men and women, we are different. Men are sexually aggressive because we produce sperms, millions of sperm, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of sperm every single day until we die. That's men. We feel this pressure of having sex. Okay? That's men. Women, they are born with a set number, several thousands, set number of eggs. They ovulate from what, age 13 to 50? Age 15 to 50. So 35 years, 40 years max. They ovulate once a month. After 50, it's over. They don't ovulate anymore. That's menopause. Okay? So women are sexually passive. Men sexually aggressive. And there's this natural deterrence of promiscuity in heterosexual population. Why? Because women have evolved so that they don't just have sex. Why? Because they only ovulate once a month. That's menstruation, right? They ovulate once a month. So they need to have sex only once a month. So they don't feel the need to have sex. Okay? Plus, we've talked about this once before. Women have evolved to pick and choose the best mate. It's not just humans, it's any animal world. it's always males competing with each other to get this one female. That's fish, birds, mammals, bison, bears, all these animals. Insects, same way. Just one female and males compete to get this one female. All right. And so yeah, all these female animals, they are sexually passive because they don't have to be aggressive. So they pick the best mate, the most powerful one. Okay, so power. Who was it? Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger. You know, he was a Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. I don't know, during the time of I forgot. Was it Ford? Gerald Ford. Yeah, so Henry Kissinger was a very powerful man. He went to Harvard and stuff. Harvard professor or something. He said power is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Was it with Kennedy? I'm not sure. Was it with Lyndon Johnson, LBJ? Back in the 60s, 70s, yeah, Henry Kissinger, right? He was a very smart guy, and he said power is the ultimate aphrodisiac for women. That's very true. Okay, women get sexually aroused. I'm repeating myself. We talked about this in one of the past episodes. But yeah, women get sexually aroused and turned on by power. Okay, it's not just humans, animals. Females are always like that. Okay, they're drawn to power. They get sexually aroused by power. That's why. Yeah, we talked about this. Harvey Weinstein, Donald J. Trump. Who was that NBC journalist? Matt Lauer. All these rich and powerful, famous people, they're all married. Women, they don't care. Okay, they get sexually aroused by these powerful men. They don't care if they get anything in return, or money, or some job, position. They don't care. They're just biologically, sexually, evolutionarily aroused, turned on. They get horny when they see a powerful man. They don't care even if whether they themselves are married or these guys are married. They don't care. They just get turned on. It's biological response. Just like we guys. Let's assume I'm not married. I'm single. Let's assume I'm married and I see a married woman and she's young, she's slender, she's healthy, she has big eyes like this, slender. She's and skin color actually doesn't matter. Okay, I've seen so many beautiful, sexy black women, Asian women, Middle Eastern women, Indian women. I've seen them all. Hispanic women. Yeah, so skin color doesn't matter. If she's young and she's healthy, she's slender with hourglass shape, this waspy waist, and natural breast, not plastic surgery breast, is disgusting. Okay, it's not natural. It's stupid and it's disgusting, and that's all the ex-wives and wife of Donald J. Trump and his daughters. They all, that's my speculation. I think they all had plastic surgery, and my theory is that Donald J. Trump paid for it. Like that's my conjecture. It's my theory. I don't know. Okay. So yeah, plastic surgery is disgusting, ugly, very ugly. Okay, so don't do it. All right. If you're a woman, don't do plastic surgery, and don't do boob reduction surgery either. Just leave it alone. Okay. Keep it natural. You reduce your boobs, you augment your boobs, all ugly, all wrong. And so I hate plastic surgery. Okay, it's one of the sins in humanology. All right, and yeah, any body modification like tattoo, pierce. By piercing, I mean like this: piercing here. This traditional piercing, like one on each lower earlobe, that's beautiful, okay, for women. But that's traditional, that's classic. It's beautiful. But like all like here, 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 they do piercing everywhere, right? Like here, like it's out of control, and it gets worse every single day in America. Tattoos, it started here, but it spreads like here, and then it comes up too, and then like this, it's right now like here, right? Tattoos, it will not stop. It will come here, and here. What's gonna happen is like 666. That's what people will start to tattoo themselves. Piercing, they will cover their entire body, okay? Because it's only spreading. Why? Because nobody's stopping it. I'm the only one who can stop it from that. And tattoos, piercing, they will start tattoo and pierce their babies. You don't think it's possible? 30 years ago, do you think tattoos and piercing were mainstream in America? It was not. It was only criminals who did that 30 years ago. Okay? But it never stopped spreading. And now it's mainstream. Tattoos and piercings. By piercings, I mean this, like here, all that stuff. It's only spreading, and the age of first tattoos and piercings is getting lower and lower and lower. You don't think teenagers won't tattoo and pierce? You don't think children won't? No, it will happen unless we stop it. That's why I'm running for president. Why? Because right now I'm just a computer programmer in Alaska, and I record this. Nobody sees it. Nobody is interested in what I have to say. Why? Because I'm nobody. I'm not famous. Okay? But if I'm the president, then I have the power and influence. I have the visibility. When I say something, everybody in the world listen. I need that in order to save the world from self-destruction. Okay? I think we talked about middle violence issue in the Middle East. How to stop it? Yeah, I think we talked about it. Yeah, they need to start smoking cigarettes and drink alcohol and get rid of hijabs and burqas so that men can be happy. Okay, women in the Middle East should start wearing miniskirts and high heels because back in the days in the Middle East, that's how it was. You know, this veil and this belly dancing, it was from the Middle East. Okay. Arabian Nights, 1001 night story. It's a highly sexual story, okay? Arabian Nights, and that's the tradition of Middle East. They were open to sexuality, like heterosexuality. Just women being exposing themselves. That's the original Middle East. And in the original Islam by Prophet Muhammad, they loved women. Prophet Muhammad loved women. Okay, he had many wives, and all he said is women should cover their breasts. So bikini, wearing bikini does not violate Prophet Muhammad's Islam. It does not. Okay, that's the original Islam. But later on, Islam people in the Islam, like imams, they started to add bad things like hijabs and burqas. They started to suppress women. That's why terrorism is so prevalent in the Middle East, because men don't get happy. Men can never be happy without women, and women are covering themselves with all this. So men are very unhappy. That's the origin of the Middle Eastern terrorism. Okay? It's not the original Islam, but the later Islam. They started to oppress women, covering them up with burqas and hijabs. So men are no longer happy. They're angry. That's why the Middle East, unlike anywhere else in the world, is so infested with violence and terrorism. Okay? I know what the cause is, and I know what the solution is. It doesn't take rocket scientists, because we men are simple. And criminals, they are very simple. They are like animals. Okay? It does not take some Harvard MD, PhD, fancy Freudian, Jungian theory. No, no, no. It's simple. We men, we love sex. We want to see women naked or at least exposed. Then we are happy. Okay. It's that simple, okay? So you start covering up women with this clothing, baggy clothes, with hijabs and burqas. Of course, they become unhappy. Men in the Middle East, they become unhappy. They get angry. So they get violent. Come on, hello. It's common sense, okay? It's not rocket science. No, it's simple. All right. So people, the elites like Donald Trump or Barack Obama, they can never figure this out. Why? Because with all that workaholism, they work all the time, they study all the time. That's how they went to UPenn, Wharton Business School, or Harvard Law School. I'm talking about Donald J. Trump and Barack Obama. These elites or people, all these top generals who went to West Point, or people who went to Stanford, Yale, elites, people on top of the heap in the Washington D.C. elites, they lost common sense and good conscience because they worked too hard, they studied too hard, they lost all the common sense, good conscience and common sense because they studied too hard. They think common sense is just too easy. It's not exciting. It doesn't make them look good. It makes them look just common and average. They want to impress people with this old fancy lingos and terminology and fancy arcane theory by Nobel Prize laureate economist. Okay? That's why they can never solve these problems of violence in the Middle East or crimes in America because they don't have any common sense. To understand criminals, you need to have common sense. All you need is to understand animals because they are like animals. Criminals, terrorists. Terrorists are criminals. That's all they are. So yeah, it's about pain and pleasure. That's it. Okay. So yeah, and I'm doing some water. Yeah. So yeah, back to gayism. Okay, so men are sexually aggressive. So if you put two men together, so who become gays, like male gays? It's this. Okay, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of strength and endurance to get one date. Me, a single guy, to get one date. I'm not talking about boyfriend girlfriend relationship. I'm talking about one date, just one dinner at my expense. I pay for the dinner. I buy the flower for this first date. That's not easy. Okay. Especially nowadays, women have their jobs. They are not economically dependent on men. They are economically independent. They don't need men. All right. Why? Because they don't need sex. Women does not have huge sexual desire. They can do without it. Okay. So they don't need sex. They don't need money. So what do they need men for, right? Women nowadays don't need men. All right. And me, I'm not famous. I don't have many money. I pay my bills and that's it. Okay. I don't have disposable income. I make average American salary, like 50 some $1,000 a year. Okay. After paying the bills and then that's it. I don't have much left. All right. So I don't have any money. I'm not famous. I'm not powerful. Just computer programmer in Alaska. So nobody wants to date me. Okay. So it's not, but every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, yeah, I get a date. Okay. So, it's not easy to get a date for a man like me. That's most men. We are not famous, we are not powerful, and we don't have disposable income. We don't have much money. So, that's most of men in America or anywhere in the world. So, and women nowadays don't need sex. I mean, women never needed sex. Maybe once a month, but they can have dildo, masturbate, whatever, right? So women don't have this sexual desire like we guys do. They don't need sex and they don't need her husband because they have jobs. Women have jobs. They make their own money. Okay. So yeah, women don't need men, so it's not easy to get for us guys to get on one date. It takes for me personally probably 30 or 100 rejection before I get one date. Not having sex, not a relationship, but one dinner, maybe 1 or 2 hours of her time. I pay for the dinner, I buy her flowers, but to get that, I have to go through 100 rejections. It's painful. I'm used to it, but it still hurts. And it takes a lot of patience, a lot of courtship efforts, labor. I can handle it. Why? Because I grew up in Korea. Korea is like 50 years ago in America. America used to be very tough. America used to beat children, like spanking. We have this pedal, spanking the butt with the pedal in school. America used to do that like 50 years ago. Korea is 50 years behind America. So Korea nowadays is like 50 years back in America. Okay, so me, I grew up in the 80s in Korea. So yeah, I got beaten when I did something wrong in school and also by my parents. Physical discipline. That's what America needs to go back to. Okay, if you don't want, okay, then at least just ground them or take away their cell phone. But you do need discipline. Maybe not necessarily physical discipline, but you do need discipline. Okay, correct them when they are wrong. And so I spent nearly 20 decades, no, not 20 decades, that's like 200 years. No, I'm not that old. I'm about 40 years old. So I spent nearly 2 decades in Korea in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, I got a lot of discipline because Korean middle school and high school, Korean elementary school is co-ed, half men, half women, half boys, half girls. But Korean middle school, at least when I was there, like middle school meaning 7, 8, 9 grade, and high school is like 10, 11, and 12. So from middle school and on, at least when I was there in the 80s and 90s, it was all men or all girls, all boys, boys school, girls school, because they want you to concentrate, focus on studying and not dating. There is no teenager dating in Korea. When I was there, if you date as a teenager in high school, you are frowned upon. It's not a norm. It's an exception, and it's stigmatized. That's how it should be, okay? Because people in their high school, middle school, they need to focus on studying to prepare for their future career. I think it's better that way. So I am against teenager dating, right? Because they have sex, they start holding hands, then they hug and they kiss teenagers, then they have sex and women get pregnant, and abortion is expensive, it's costly in terms of health, money, and career, and emotion. So in financially and physically and emotionally it's very taxing. That's abortion, right? It's very expensive. So this unwanted teenage pregnancy is lose game for everybody involved. The boy, the girl, their parents, teachers. And it's very bad because sex is like a drug. What does drug do? Neurochemicals, right? It gets you high in the brain. Sex is just that. Gets you high. You get addicted, and it's bad for discipline. You get used to this joy of sex, this getting high. You cannot focus on studying because studying is very painful. If you are used to pleasure, you cannot take the pain. So pleasure. Okay, let's cover some humanology here. Gayism, yeah, well, we get back to it, okay. So, it's this. Let's do some humanology. Let's say this is a discipline level, your level of discipline. And this, let's say this x-axis, and let's say this, okay, let's call this y-axis, this is vertical, and let's call this z-axis, this is the pleasure level. Pleasure axis, this is plus and it goes down, minus and what is it? What's the opposite of pleasure? Pain, right? Pain. The more pain you suffer, the more discipline you get. What is the opposite of discipline? Maybe laziness. Laziness. Lack of discipline, okay? Or weakness. Lack of discipline. Discipline means it means strength too. You are strong if you are disciplined. The more pain you go through, the stronger you get, the more disciplined you get. No pain, no gain, right? The more pleasure you get, the lazy you become, the weaker you become, right? So yeah, it goes the opposite direction. It's parallel axis, it's anti-parallel, okay? Yeah, that's one of the lesson in humanology, okay? It's common sense, right? I'm just modeling that common sense, this common wisdom in a mathematical language, okay? So that's that. So yeah, sex spoils a boy. And sex, teenager sex, I'm talking about teenager sex, teenager dating, I'm against it. They should not date. Teenagers should not date. I'm talking about high schoolers. If you are in college, maybe, okay. High schoolers, middle schoolers should never date. They should never hold hands. No, nothing sexual. Never. Right? Because gets the girl pregnant, it spoils the boy, it derails their career, it ruins them. It doesn't matter if you have the girl end up having kids or abort. It ruins them. Okay? It doesn't matter if you abort or not. If you have kids, it doesn't matter. It traumatizes them, it ruins them. They get derailed from their career and academic performance. It's a poison. So no, say no to teenager dating, period. Okay, you cannot allow that. It's gonna ruin your children. Alright? Just like marijuana. Marijuana disables the capability to form short-term memory. Okay? It was scientifically proven. You smoke marijuana, you cannot form the short-term memory. It's impaired. It's much more difficult to form short-term memory. If you cannot form short-term memory, you cannot form long-term memory. Okay? Meaning you cannot learn anything new. Your academic performance go down, your job performance go down because they all rely on your ability to form memories. You cannot remember something, your academic performance go down, your job performance go down. So marijuana is the last thing America needs. What does Donald Trump say? Oh, leave it to the state. So he's passively approving legalization of marijuana. Why? Because marijuana is so popular, it's majoritarian view, and Donald J. Trump wants to be re-elected. He doesn't care whether marijuana ruins America or not. He only cares about his re-election. He's a selfish individual. It's not just Donald J. Trump. It's Barack Obama. It's Bill Clinton. It's Ronald Reagan. All the politicians who just side with the majoritarian view. That's how they get elected. That's the blind spot of democracy. Rule by majority. When majority is not always wrong, but sometimes they are wrong. Like we've seen it with gay marriage, transgender bathroom, and marijuana, tattoos, and piercings. Majoritarian view. Sometimes it's wrong. We've seen it with Hitler in Germany. Hitler was elected by democratic election. Okay? Yeah, so majority can be wrong from time to time. They are not always wrong, but sometimes they are wrong. If you are a leader, you should be able to lead people, not be led by majoritarian mass. The mass can be mass. MASS can be MESS. It can be messy. Majoritarian, the mass, the public. Okay. So I enjoy being a minority ideologically or ethnically. Okay, I love fighting against the majority. Like David versus Goliath. David is small guy, Goliath is this big guy, right? I'm not saying Donald J. Trump is Goliath. He could be. But I also think he's John the Baptist and I'm Jesus. Okay? So scripture is like I see the scripture, the Bible, as a screenplay, like script for a movie. There are these characters like Jesus, John the Baptist, David, Goliath, Moses, Abraham, even prophets or God or Satan. There are characters in this one book, Bible. I see it as a script for a movie or play, screenplay, okay? So I love to play the role of David and Abraham and Moses, all the good characters like Jesus, John the Baptist. Okay, so I see Donald J. Trump. He could be Goliath and I could be David. Okay, that's fine. But another more interesting concept would be Donald J. Trump is John the Baptist and I'm Jesus Christ. So he's preparing the way, and me. So Donald J. Trump baptized with the water. I, Jesus Christ, the next president, in 2021, I will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. Okay? It doesn't end there. After I'm the president, I'm John the Baptist. And who do you think will be Jesus Christ? From 2021 and on. So once I become the president, yeah, I'm the John the Baptist. And who do you think will be Jesus Christ? I give you like 10 seconds. It's you, okay? You are Jesus the Christ. I'm John the Baptist as the President of the United States in 2021. You are Jesus Christ. Why? Because I cannot save the world. I cannot save America. It's you. You are the only one who can save America and the world. Everybody in the world, okay? I'm just John the Baptist. Once you start becoming the Jesus Christ, I just fade into the background. Just like a good John the Baptist. Okay? Because the world or America can be saved only if every single one of you become the savior, the salvation, the second coming, the advent of Jesus Christ. It has to be you, every one of you. That is the only way America and the world can be saved. Me, I'm just one person. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I'm nobody. I'm just a computer programmer in Alaska, okay? But I can start the process of salvation of the world. You know, many Christians, they say, oh, Jesus will come from the cloud and he will save the world. He will take care of all our problems that we face every day. Jesus will come and become our king and save our problems. All we gotta do is just wait until Jesus comes from the cloud. I have to disagree. That's too easy. That's too lazy. We have to make it happen. Okay, I do believe in power of prayers. If somebody pray for me, nothing in the world means to me more than that. Okay, I believe in the power of prayer. I prayed for the election of Donald J. Trump, and I prayed for he becoming the president, and I almost cried when he got the election. Okay, because to me that's God answering my prayers. Okay, I almost cried. Okay, I didn't quite cry, but I almost cried. Okay, it was so beautifully done. All right, so yeah, I still do love Donald J. Trump. He's my mentor. I never met him, but I read his books, so I'm like his brainchild. Okay, so if I ever had a chance to debate him, here's what I'm gonna say. Hey, you're like we're gonna play this Star Wars or inverse Star Wars. So I claim you're my father, and you deny it. No, you are not my son. You are Asian. No, no, you are my father. I read your books. I'm your grandchild. So I claim heirship. I'm your heir. So give me the presidency as an inheritance. Why? Because I am you. I am Donald J. Trump on steroid. You have many good ideas like building the southern border wall and get rid of crimes. You have good goals, good ideas, but you're not capable of implementing them. I am. Okay? I can not only build a wall, I can not only build a wall for free, I can make money off of it by the southern border wall between America and Mexico. How? We commercialize it. You have this long stretch of border wall, we have to fund it, right? Commercialize it, okay? Have advertisement space. It's not my idea, it's some ideas from my friends, okay? And I'm gonna hire them in the White House, okay? Because they're smart. All right. Again, I'm a synthesizer and collector of ideas because I'm a good listener. I prefer listening. I'm talking now because I'm alone. When I'm with people, I prefer listening and learn something new. Okay, so that's why I have all this knowledge. It's not my ideas. It's from my friends, okay, or from books or YouTube videos or internet websites. All right. So yeah, commercialization of this border wall, and we put advertisement and we put inscribing like you go to a park. There's this bench in the memory of a loved one who passed away. We'll do the same thing. So there'll be sales of permanent space. They can write political message or they can write love poem or portrait of their loved one or whatever. It will be there forever on the southern border wall. And there will be commercial leasing space, the advertisement. It will be from all over the world, not just America. And it has two sides, American side and Mexican side. Okay, so we will bring in Mexico government and they will work with us to build this wall because they're gonna make money too. Okay, advertisement, inscribing, and who is the number one victim of illegal border crossing? It's not us. It's Mexicans. They are the ones who get raped, who get killed during the border crossing. They jam pack this car trunk with children and women and people. They suffocate. They get raped. They get physically abused. They die. They are not Americans. They are Mexicans. And Mexico also suffer from the brain drain and brawn drain. Brain drain and brawn drain. They lose labor to America. America have everything to gain. They get cheap labor in America. The victim of illegal border crossing is Mexico. It's not America. It's Mexican who dies. It's Mexican women who get raped. It's Mexican children who suffocate in the car trunk. It's Mexico that lose labor and brain. Mexico is the victim of illegal border crossing. It's not America. America get cheap labor, and Democrats, they get votes. Democrats, they advocate for free amnesty for illegal immigrants because once they do that, they become citizens and they will vote for Democrats. That's all they care about. It's not about some humane treatment, it's not about love. If they care for Mexicans, if they care for Mexico, they will oppose illegal border crossing because it's bad for Mexico and it's bad for Mexicans. Democrats want their votes. That's why they are supporting all these illegal immigrants. Okay? And you cannot just believe what they say. You have to be an independent thinker. I want you to disagree with me, criticize me, and become independent thinker. Okay? So, of course, not every Democrats like that. Yeah, many Democrats. Half of my friends are Democrats, and half of my enemies are Republicans, because they loved Donald J. Trump, and I'm running against him. Okay, so half of my enemies are Republicans, and half of my friends are Democrats. Me, I prefer to run as Republican candidate. I want to have a primary debate with Donald J. Trump because I think it would be very entertaining. Even Donald J. Trump will love it because he's going to enjoy it. I will be enjoying it. And Americans and people around the world will enjoy the debate between me and Donald J. Trump. Whether it's going to happen or not, it's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's up to God. Okay, if God wants to be entertained by the debate between me and Donald J. Trump, then it will happen. If not, for whatever reason, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how much I try or you try, it will not happen. And I will never make it in 2021. Or ever. I may die a computer programmer. I'm okay with that, okay? The very reason I'm running for president is that I want to save Americans and I want to save the world. That's the only reason. I love Alaska. I would rather live in Alaska than in Washington, D.C. Okay, but I am willing to sacrifice 4 years of my life to save the world, to save America from its self-destructive suicidal course. The lemmings. This march of lemmings, and at the very front there is this lemming leader like Donald J. Trump and Barack Obama. They approve gay marriage. They approve marijuana. Okay? Okay, back to gayism. So you have two men, they are lonely and they are weak. So they cannot handle the pain of rejection from women. They cannot handle the labor of courtship. So these two men, they tried, but they failed, and they gave up. So and they are lonely, so they come together and they become gay lovers. That's male gayism. Female gayism, lesbianism, is this. One of them, maybe I talked about this before. Maybe I'm repeating myself. Well, I don't smoke marijuana, but I'm old. I'm 40 years old, so my memory isn't as good. Okay? I don't smoke marijuana, but my memory is still not as good because I'm old. I'm 40. And I'm doing 10,000 different things, okay? Politics, my computer programmer job, and go to karaoke, I go to club and sing and dance, and I write my novels and all this campaign, political campaign thing, and so I cannot remember everything. So please forgive me if I'm repeating myself. Okay, so yeah, lesbians. Yeah, one of them, they are. She was raped. She was sexually harassed as a girl, young girl. So she hate men. She fear men. Okay. Second woman. She is very attractive and everything, but she may be a feminist. Okay, or oh, okay. So one very attractive woman. She's slender, pretty, big eyes and everything, sharp nose and pouty lips like this, but not too big, but like pouty like this. I don't know. I'm so and very slender neckline and natural boobs. So she's a beautiful girl naturally. She's blonde, blue eyes, white skin, whatever. Oh, she can be black, she can be Asian, but she's slender, she's feminine, and she long hair. She wear like mini skirts, high heels, no piercing, no tattoos. Yeah, it doesn't matter what race she is. She's a beautiful girl. But she got raped. She got sexually harassed by men as a young girl. So she hate men. She's disgusted by those past experience of being raped and sexually harassed, like touched and licked and sucked or bitten with teeth, or yeah, sexual stuff, bad experience. She her experienced this sexual trauma as a 12 years old girl, 11 years old girl. It was so traumatic. She doesn't just hate those sexual predators. She has to hate all men. In humanology, it's called divergent projection. There's convergent projection and divergent projection in humanology. Divergent projection. Let's say you, a person, have some horrendous experience with one Asian. Let's say you are a woman. You are a African American woman. And you are 11 years old. And there was this Asian man who was 38 years old, and he raped you. You are so angry. I'm not blaming you or judging you. It's just anybody's like that. Okay? You're so angry. It's human nature. So you don't just hate that Asian man who raped you. You hate every single Asians, both even men and women, on this planet. So you become a racist against Asian. You hate every single Asian because your trauma, your anger is just too big. You cannot, this blaming one person is not good enough. It has to be every Asian. Okay? So you become a racist against Asian. You hate Asian just because that person is Asian. I understand that, okay? So now we are talking about lesbians, okay? You are this one white woman who were raped by a white man when you were 11 years old. Okay? You are so angry. You are a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, slender body, no tattoo, no piercing. But you're raped by white men. You're so angry. Blaming one man is not enough. Blaming one rapist is not enough. You have to blame every single man on this planet. You become a feminist. Not just that, you become a lesbian. Because, yeah, sometimes you feel lonely. Once a month you want to have sex. But you cannot have sex with a man because you are traumatized by a man. You hate every single man in the world. Divergent projection. Okay? Now, The counterpart is convergent projection. Converge, like a magnifying glass. You have concave glass and convex glass. This magnifying or shrink glass, right? Like Sherlock Holmes, that's magnifying glass. That's convex glass. It concentrates light into one spot. You can burn a paper, right? Maybe you are too young. Maybe you're a millennial. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you are in my generation, you know magnifying glass and converging light and burning paper. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Convergent projection is more commonly known as scapegoating. Okay, so you had this society, Americans. Uh, you on a scapegoat, right? Because there's this 9/11 terrorism by Middle Easterns. Okay, you on a scapegoat. So you pick one Middle Eastern man in your neighborhood, and you blame him for everything that Middle Eastern terrorists committed against American. Scapegoating. There's many wrongdoings by Middle Eastern terrorists, and you're blaming this one Middle Eastern man. He's innocent, but he's a scapegoat. This whole community in your neighborhood pick this one man as scapegoat. Okay, that's convergent projection. Okay, many Middle Eastern did the wrong thing to America. They terrorists, all that stuff, but you are blaming only one person, one Middle Eastern man, because it's an easy target and you're angry. You need some venting of your anger. Convergent projection. Many Middle Easterns commit the wrong, but you are blaming single one person, as an example. Okay, that's convergent projection. Divergent projection. Okay, only one person raped you. You are a woman. One male raped you. But you are blaming every male in the world, every man in the world. You become a feminist and you become a lesbian. Right? Divergent projection is one of the lessons in humanology. Okay? Yeah. So, okay, so you're an attractive woman, but you hate men because you were sexually harassed as a child. You hate all men, so you cannot be with men, okay? Because you hate men. Second woman is this: she's fat, she's ugly, she's covered with tattoos and piercing. She's bisexual or lesbian, whatever. She has this transgender surgery or boob reduction surgery or boob augmentation surgery. She's fat, she's ugly, she's old, and she's lonely because no man wants her. Not a single man finds this woman attractive. She's dirty, she's smelly, okay? She's obese, fat, she's ugly, she's old, and not a single man on this planet finds her attractive. So she's not lonely. And this woman, a very attractive young woman, she's lonely too because she cannot have a boyfriend. These two women, lonely women, they get together and they become lesbians. Okay? That's female lesbianism, female gayism. Male gayism, yeah, two weak, lazy men who cannot handle the rejection from women because they are too weak, and who cannot handle the courtship, the labor to get a date because he's too lazy. They get together, they become gays. Now, male gays, they're still male, they are sexually aggressive, and we men, we love to have sex with as many women as possible. That's not just Homo sapiens, it's not just us humans, it's any animals. Male animals, they are promiscuous because they want to spread genes as wide as possible. It's evolutionary product. This male sexual promiscuity is an evolutionary product. And gay males, they retain this property, this characteristic, this trait. They're still male, they're still sexually aggressive, they're still promiscuous. So males and males put together is a recipe to disaster because they agree. The two gay males, they marry, gay marriage, and at the beginning they start with this agreement where they agree, both of them, they understand perfectly each other. They are both males. They agree that I am going to have sex with other men. I agree. I agree. That's the beginning of a male gay marriage. Okay. The agreement to be promiscuous, to have sex with other males. Okay. So gay marriage does not solve problem of promiscuity, AIDS, sexually transmittable diseases. No. It legitimizes gay marriage, legitimizes the homosexual relationship. So it gets worse and worse and worse because not every gay males will marry and become monogamous. No, gay marriage legitimizes homosexual relationship, whether it's promiscuous or not. So more males become gays and they have sex with many males, and in the anal sex, they bleed because anus, the rectum, is not designed to that bidirectional reparative movement. No, anus, the rectum, is one direction only. Okay, it's not a reproductive organ. It's a digest part of the digest system. Food comes in and it goes down and goes out through anus. Okay, it's one way. It's one direction. Comes in, it goes out one way. So anus does not support this bidirectional reparative movement. No, it's once a day and one direction only when you defecate. That's the product of evolution over millions of years, even billions of years. It's mammals. Mammals, animals, they never have anal sex. Okay. If a male cat confuse female cat's anus as her vagina, it's not gonna happen because female cat will not tolerate that. There's no anal sex in animal world because females just don't tolerate that kind of pain because it serves no biological purpose, right? So male gays, they do anal sex. Heterosexual couples sometimes do anal sex too, but I oppose that because it's unhealthy. Anal sex leads to what's that? Incontinence. You cannot contain your anus cannot contain the feces, so you leak the feces. Incontinence. Yeah, anal sex causes that. Also, anal sex causes anal fissure, meaning the laceration, the scraping and bleeding of anus, because anus is not supposed to be support the sex or penetration and reparative back and forth shuttling. Okay, the shuttling of penis inside of anus, that it causes bleeding. It cause this injury in your anus. It causes bleeding. Okay, this anal fissure. So and incontinence, you cannot contain the feces in the rectum anymore. Okay, and or hemorrhoid. Straight or gay anal sex is very injurious. It's very dangerous. It's unhealthy. So, but male gays, all they have is anal sex. Okay, because gay sex is an imitation sex. Okay, the location of anus and vagina, they're very close together. Okay, and male body is not that very much different from female body. Okay, we have arms, we have legs, we have buttocks and face. Yeah, male and female anatomy is not that different. Okay, so that's why gay males do gay sex to imitate, because they cannot get women, so they just settle with men. Okay, that's gay male gay sex. They say, "Oh, I'm attracted to men." No, it's all lies. They lie to themselves and they lie to others. Okay, it's this concept, ideology of gayism possessing, controlling this brain, and it's like puppet master. Okay, just like alien, little alien getting inside of this head. It's like that. Okay, so male gays are promiscuous and they bleed when they have sex. Of course, AIDS. Okay, so that's the origin of AIDS in the early 1980s in San Francisco. First discovery of AIDS in male gay population, because male gays are promiscuous, they bleed, they don't use condoms because they don't get pregnant, and they want diversity in their sex partners. That's male, and there's no stopping it because all gay males are still males and they want sex. They are not like females. Females do not tolerate cheating, promiscuity. That's what keep in check their husbands, their boyfriends. So heterosexual population, there's this inherent, built-in mechanism to prevent promiscuity, male promiscuity, because males, they want to hold on to retain their females, and females do not tolerate promiscuity, cheating. That's why AIDS, STDs is not as prevalent in heterosexual population as in male gay population. Okay, start losing my voice. I'm gonna be real quick. We'll finish off. It's been more than 2 hours. So male gays, AIDS, STD, promiscuity. Okay, that's male gays problem. Female gays, lesbians, they become very ugly. They become fat. They do tattoos, piercings. They cut their hair short. They are feminists, and they become very ugly. Why? Because females are not visual creature. We males are. So they have female partners, lesbians. They just let it go. They become fat, shave their hair, piercing, tattoos. Because females, they don't care about appearance. They don't have incentive to look good, to look pretty. Why? Because they are not dating a male. They are not attracting a male. So they don't care about their appearance anymore. So they never wear miniskirts. They just wear these baggy jeans and sneakers, and they get rid of their breasts because it's cumbersome, it's heavy, and they don't have to attract males anymore. So they get rid of their boobs with this boob reduction surgery. They shave their hair, cut their hair short. Why? Because it's heavy. It serves no purpose. Why? Because they don't have to be attractive to males. They don't have to attract males anymore. Why? Because they are lesbians. Okay, so women become ugly as lesbians and or feminists. Males become gay. They get STDs because they have sex with every other male gays. That's the evil of gayism. You think gay marriage does not harm anyone? It's a matter of privacy. You are wrong. Gayism is toxic, is harmful, it is ruining
the Western civilization. It makes women ugly. It makes men sick with STDs and AIDS. Gayism is the number one, maybe number two or number one. It's on top of the evil, and it's dominating the West. Not Asia, not Africa, not Middle East. Middle East, Asia, Africa, they are better than the West in terms of anti-gayism. The Middle East, Asia, and Africa, they are better than the West in terms of anti-gayism because they oppose gayism. They are sane enough to know how crazy it is to approve gay marriage, to legalize gay marriage. One man and another man having gay anal sex. That the Supreme Court of the United States said it is protected by the Constitution. Gay anal sex. A man calling another man his husband and penetrating his anus with his penis. That is protected by the Constitution. That's Supreme Court. 5 justices of the Supreme Court of the United States. Okay? They say Constitution of the United States support gay marriage. A woman calling another woman her wife. What a defamation. What an insult to the document that founded this country, American Constitution. What a relegation, what a degrading, what an insult to the Constitution of the United States. 5 justices of the Supreme Court of the United States say the Constitution protects gay anal sex. The Constitution gives right to a man to penetrate another man's anus with his penis. That's constitutional right. That's Lawrence versus Texas. Sandra May O'Connor or something like that, the first female justice appointed by Ronald Reagan, the conservative hero. Sarah O'Connor and also Justice Kennedy, also appointed by conservative hero Ronald Reagan. They are the two of the 5 justices who sided with pro-gays, Lawrence versus Texas. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, let's end here because I'm losing my voice. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Good night.